Well, hello and welcome to the CRM Zen Show, where we talk about all things Zoho. This is episode 375. It's not you, it's my address field. Recorded for Friday, October 3rd, 2025. From Zenatta Consulting, I'm Tyler Colt.
And I'm Greg Belnap, and let's get right on into the show.
Let us do it. A little bit more news this week than last. Still on the lighter end of the spectrum. A couple Bigin stories. I think the one news story that isn't a news story, because there isn't an article about it, but that we've been running into is just some general weirdness. We're getting signed out of Zoho a lot, having to relog in, some general slowness. I'm wondering if it's a downstream effect of their internal big migration that they've done. I don't think that would be I don't see how it would really relate, but interested in the comments below. Are other people running into that, or is it just us? What we're seeing is every 10 minutes or so at times of the day, you're just getting signed out of Zoho. I mean, it's signed back in, and you're signed out again, signed back in. Driving me a little crazy as I was elbows deep in a build out yesterday, and it was not helping my productivity or my mental state, getting constantly signed out. So yeah, let us know if other people are bumping into that, because we surely are.
Yep.
With that, we do have a bit of news to go through this week. But before we do, let's hear a quick word from our sponsor, us.
Is your Zoho CRM clean and healthy? The Zenatta Health Check for Zoho CRM finds inactive users, checks for duplicates, and flags missing key data, all in real time or in a monthly email. Zenatta Health Check for Zoho CRM. Healthy data, better business. Get it today on the Zoho Marketplace.
Look at that rapid fire. That's what we call a rapid fire advertisement right there. Quick, to the point. You gotta love it.
I do also like how we put the share link at the bottom of the video, as if people are going to click go to their address bar and type out zoho.marketplace.com/ZENATTA/EHEA.
The rest.
Anyway.
Yeah, we do love that health check. Can save you money. The inactive users one, that's a funny one as a quick aside. I'd say probably about 10% of the customers that we engage with on the consulting, services that we offer, they're paying for more users than they have. At some point they had 10, now they have 8, and we're like, do you need 10? They're like, no. We're like, okay, we removed those. We'll save you $80 a month. So might have a little bit of cost saving. You can check that manually though. A little bit of a PSA, never hurts to make sure that you're not paying for stuff you don't need. But with that, starting off the news world of Zoho CRM, this is a new address field that they're rolling out for the CRM. So if you are a CRM user now, you'll know that when you have a new record, it'll have those default address fields, right? Street, city, state, zip, generally split into, billing and shipping, and then mailing and other, I think are the way it goes between the contacts and accounts. But those aren't like a formal address set of fields, if that makes sense. They're each their own little field. They don't really nestle into an address style structure. This is basically a way to add that formal address field. So something you'd bump into in Zoho Forms or whatever it may be, or you have these different subcategories. I'd recommend, if you're interested in this, take a look at the article itself that goes out in the newsletter and over in the show notes on the site, because they do give some tips around using some global sets for countries and states and provinces that might be applicable for you, that you can kind of sub-select into. So if you don't need all of them, you can kind of manage it here. I do like that a lot. Good use case for a global set. And then, filling it out, working with it's going to be pretty similar. It's not like a type ahead. When I first read this, I was like, oh, they added their own type ahead. Let's get rid of our Google Maps plugin because that's not needed anymore. It's not quite that. It's really just like a wrapper around those types of address fields that you can now add, and obviously control which ones are important and relevant for you in different filters and use cases.
Yeah, I imagine this is also going to be Well, and it'll be interesting to see on the back end how is this going to be structured from a code perspective, because similar to those that use Zoho Creator, that something like a name field or an address field, where instead of it being 5 different single line values, you now have one object that you now dive further into. So I don't know if they're going to be replacing. I mean, I assume they'd be looking to replace the existing.
What it looks like to me
field
is new signups will be using these as a default. Existing orgs, they'll be available, but I'm assuming you'd have to migrate your data, export, import. That's not a huge job if you wanted to move over to this. It's not going to take you a ton of time. We've got some videos on how to export and import data from CRM that honestly you could just follow along with and probably get there. But yeah, it is a good question. Is this going to become a thing where I get address dot get street? Right? Am I going to get the packet and then get the item from within that packet? Because if it did, I mean, if you had some templated code you were using, it wouldn't quite work like that. You'd have to adjust it a little bit. Wouldn't be anything crazy, but that would be an extra step you would need to take if you're writing a piece of deluge code.
Yeah, and something you would need to know if you were migrating over to this new version. And if you already have stuff set up where, when when a deal gets closed, I create a sales order in Books. And so obviously I need to grab all the shipping information to send over to Books. And if suddenly your piece of code is now grabbing fields that don't exist anymore, or they need to go a level deeper, that could cause some issues. So just some stuff we'll just have to see as they roll this out what that looks like. Or is this only going to be a new custom address field that is totally separate from all their built-in system fields? Who knows?
The one nice thing too, and this will mostly matter for the new signups, is in the previous default fields, state is a single line text field that you type into.
Yeah.
And there have been a lot of cases with clients where one of the first things we do, because they ask us to, is make a pick list, take the data out, normalize it, and put it back into the pick list options. So just starting out there is, I think, a net positive, especially for new users. State really isn't something that you want to have people type into. You want to make sure you go into your global sets and get all the options that you need set up. You never want someone to you don't want to be missing a state, right? That people get pretty annoyed by that. But yeah, having this in the background that you can just quickly and easily pull from, get all of them added, and then not have that issue of California, CA, Cali, Northern California that gets randomly typed in there. It's those are some data quality things that could help right out of the gate.
Okay, so I'm looking at the bottom of the article here on the points to be noted, and they are saying that if you are a new sign up, the system-defined address fields, the things we were talking about of shipping address, billing address on accounts, those will be using this new address field format. For existing orgs, they're going to leave your system fields alone. If you're migrating to this, your system fields are going to stay exactly the same. So any functionalities you've already built are going to be able to keep running the same. You can now add address fields as new custom address fields. So if you wanted to switch to this new one, you could do that, but you're going to have to put in a new field and then migrate all the data over and then change whatever scripts you have point to that new one. So that's good to know that at a minimum, if you sign up for this and they implement it in your system, all your stuff isn't just going to immediately break. So
yeah. Nothing's going to brute force over to this. If you're hey, I don't really care about switching over to this, cool. You don't have to. You can just leave your stuff alone and it's all good. But I do think it is going to be a better default for new users going forward. So overall, I think a net positive. Available right now for the Indian data center and will come out for other data centers soon. So keep an eye out for that. Next one up here, minor one, bit of a PSA inside of Zoho Desk. They're transitioning to an API credit system within Zoho Desk. The long story short is basically that previously, you've always had an API limit in Desk, just like you do in CRM and in various applications. My understanding, Greg, is that previously any API call was 1 credit. Now they're basically saying, look, there are some API calls that are more resource intensive, so those might count as more than 1 credit. They are going to include quite a lot in your baseline limit, and then of course you get more per user. So 100,000 credits by default for a Zoho One or bundled license or enterprise, and then 1,000 for each agent on top of those. I do think someone pointed out in the comments, like, it used to be 1 million credits a day. Now it's 100,000. So it does seem to be less, being candid, less credits than you used to have. I'll tell you, I don't know if we've ever even cracked 100,000 a day in any of our implementations. That's quite a lot to be hammering on. The devil in the details here, though, admittedly, is which types of calls count for which amounts of credits. They've said here that they're going to be variable. They didn't say what they are inside of this. And so, like, you know, you imagine the basic stuff, update a status on a ticket, that should probably be like 1, right? What would be 2? What would be 5? You know, like what's the expected range of credit usage that we would expect there? It'll never be less than 1. So overall, this will be less API credits than you previously had. But yeah, devil's in the details on what types of actions are going to cost what amount of credits, because it doesn't give us that table, right? That they oftentimes will give.
Yeah, and I think what they were saying is that it used to be 1 million credits for like your whole organization, no matter your organization, I assume. Whereas now they're saying at a minimum for, say, your Zoho One, you'll get 100,000 credits, and then you'll get an additional 1,000 for each user that you have, right?
Yeah.
So if you have an organization of 50 people, you'll have 150,000 credits.
Yeah.
And
so
I'm guessing that it's going to be probably similar to the API credit system that you see in like the CRM, where even though like that you could have calls where, for example, the update records API in the CRM, that one is like, it uses 1 credit for every 10 records that you're updating, kind of a thing. So there's probably going to be some other variable stuff in there of like, some of these are going to be, you have to do multiple actions to consume a single credit, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Would be my
but
guess.
Some of them could be more. I mean, if we use a CRM as an example, running the deduplication endpoint where you feed it 2 IDs, that's like 25 credits per 1 merge that you've done. So yeah, we'll want to follow up on this. I'm sure a table will emerge eventually that will give us those understandings. You can buy additional credits. They don't say for what cost. Again, like, I can't think of a scenario where within 1 day we're consuming even 100,000 credits, even for like a pretty robust installation. That's quite a lot of automated activities. But, you know, good time to make sure that you're being efficient, not running things when you don't need to, just to make sure that you're not going to have any issues as this rolls over.
Yeah, it looks like the way things used to run was like similar to those John Wick movies. You know how like whenever he would, like, if you've ever seen the John Wick movies, he's got like a collection of just like gold coins, and every time he goes to visit some underworld person, he just gives them 1 coin and he gets whatever he needed from them. It was always just like, it was never, whether he was staying in a hotel for a week, that's a coin. I need a pistol, that's a coin. Give me 4 dogs, that's a coin. Like, it doesn't make it.
So it's a universal medium of exchange. Yeah. But those things probably should cost that. Yeah, we're moving away from the John Wick gold coin system, more to just a traditional fiat currency where different things have different values. So do keep an eye on it. This will be rolling out on October 6th. So it'll be introduced gradually. But yeah, just keep an eye on this as it does roll out. I really doubt almost anyone's going to even bump into the base 100,000 on enterprise, but well worth just being aware of. Next one up here, we've got a couple Bigin updates. So Bigin now allows you to share a record with your customer so that they can track the statuses in real time. Now, this is interesting because it's not quite like a portal, right? You're not logging in. You're getting a shareable link to that record. They're giving the example here of maybe you have a customer support pipeline and oftentimes use Bigin for like deals, but you could totally have it be like a ticket, right? That moves through a set of statuses. That'd be a totally reasonable way to use Bigin. You can now basically make a link to that ticket and share it with them directly where they can log in. It's almost like in analytics. You can make those like unprotected URLs. You almost never should, but you can. And but this would be for this one particular ticket record. Interesting, right? I do like the premise. You can turn on OTP. So if you want them to have to like get a code to their email address before they see it each time, you can do that. The thing that I like about this as a framework or as like an approach to giving the visibility is that I'm of the opinion that businesses like customer portals more than customers like customer portals. And oftentimes, like when someone will come to us for an implementation, they're like, the biggest, most important thing we do is the portal. We got to have that. It's like, well, what are you looking for? Oh, at this one point in our process, we need them to submit some information. It's like, want to just email them a form and then they fill it out and then you're good, and I get there are some scenarios, longer sales cycles, longer implementations, like sure, portals can absolutely make sense, but something like this where it's like, hey, we just need to give them some visibility. I like the idea of like this link that can be created with some OTP verification, but they don't need to like sign in every time and like interact with a portal. It's like, look, you go to this page. There's everything you need to know. Here it is. You're good. So pretty cool. I like the premise of what they're thinking with this feature.
Yeah, so it's like, it's exactly like you mentioned about it really depends on the business use case. For example, my accountant, his accounting firm has a portal that I can log into because I use them every year to do my taxes. So it makes sense to have a portal I can log in. I can see all the documents that I've already uploaded for past years. I can pull reports, that kind of thing, have like in portal chats with, either him or his staff, that kind of thing. Compare that to Domino's. I'm buying a pizza and I want, to know like the pizza tracker like that. I don't need to like
want to log in.
The last thing I want to do is look at all the pizza that I've ordered this year. It's way too much.
I don't need to know. I don't need to know.
I need to know. Just tell me about this order this time. Maybe we'll see each other again. We probably will, but you don't have to.
Don't rub it in my face. It's almost like, you get a shipping update. I don't want to log in to USPS to see it. Just give me the special magic link with the key at the end where I get to see it, right? It's all good. Now, of course, you want to be intentional about what types of detail you show on this type of page, just to make sure, because, especially if you don't turn on OTP, you want to make it relatively minimal just so that they get that. The thing that's interesting to me as well, and it's not quite probably possible inside of Bigin itself, but with this approach is, could this link be made programmatically and then merged into an email, build into an automated process? In Bigin, you can't do deluge. That's the one downside. So it need to work somewhere else. You actually, one of the few holdout functionalities that Bigin doesn't support. But I like the idea. I'd be interested to see something like this come to CRM. I could imagine a world where I have a really nice, I'm a real estate agent. I have a really nice Canvas view page set up, right? And I can invite my buyer or invite my seller to view that page, get notifications, put the file in the place, with some baseline interaction. So cool premise. I like the portal, non-portal. because I really think people are a bit overly inundated with portals. And while they don't hurt to provide someone a portal, like you have to expect that a lot of people are going to email you and ask for an update, right? And so if you can fit this like middle ground where it's like, hey, I've put no development resources into this, I've spent no money, I'm just going to turn on this basic feature, great place to start. And then see if you really need a portal in the future. You know, I mean, we have a really robust one, but we get emails asking for updates, and it's totally fine. We're going to answer the email. So you just have to know it's never going to, the portal's never going to solve as much of your communication challenges as you might think that it will. Next one up here, also in Bigin, sending automated WhatsApp messages using templates. So this is essentially the ability to trigger in a workflow rule, sending a templated message to a particular recipient. It looks like you can pull from one or multiple of their phone numbers. Probably don't send it to all three at the same time, like this one is indicating. That might be a bit much. You do, whenever you're doing this WhatsApp style automation in any other application I've seen, you have to specify with this template if it is like transactional or if it is for marketing purposes, right? Like what type of template this is. There is a bit of like an approval process, not an approval process, a compliance process, let's say, because WhatsApp doesn't want you to be like spamming people. But really cool. I mean, it's like you basically have like a little email template builder in here. Like I'm old school, so I think about it like email, right? But like you're dropping in an image, you're merging in your data, you're putting in the emojis because everybody puts emojis everywhere nowadays. I sound like an old man shouting at the moon emoji. But really cool. You can add your call to action buttons, your quick reply buttons, so stuff like this. If you're watching us on YouTube, like yes, no, I need more help. Pretty cool. I would definitely imagine people who are on WhatsApp or in markets where WhatsApp is really popular, nice to have for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, if only the US could get on the WhatsApp train. Imagine all the things that could be solved.
Yeah,
but
we're like one holdout lately. A lot of the world seems to have moved on from SMS, MMS, and we're over here just old school, doing it our way.
We're at least moving into RCS, but man, is it a slow transition.
And only because of one verbal gaffe from Tim Cook, one of his few gaffes in his career. Buy your mom an iPhone. It's like, oh, you can't say that. That's anti-competitive practices, my friend. One little minor mistake. But yeah, nice one to have. So yeah, especially international companies that use WhatsApp more. Definitely a cool one to see. Last news story here. We're not going to cover all of these, but I do like to highlight them when they emerge. Though this one is a bit weirdly timed. This is product updates for Zoho Workplace, posted 4 days ago. It is October 2nd today. And this is for August 2025. So a little behind on the update. But this is their semi-monthly update on Zoho Mail, Calendar, Click, Connect, Trident, which is their local app for the workspace tool, Zoho Vault. Lots of nice little updates here. Nothing earth-shattering, of course. But we do just like to mention that these do exist. I think the big one is like delegating email aliases. People do use delegated inboxes a lot. And if you wanted to say like, I have an email alias for, this is not how we do it, but if I had an email alias for billing, I might want to delegate that to a couple people because they also are going to help with that. I would say set up a group inbox, but tomato. But yeah, nice suite of updates. Full notes will be in the show notes on the website as well as in the newsletter if you want to sign up for that. But yeah, nice little roundup of the workplace updates for August.
Yeah. And one feature that I think gets slept on a little bit in the Zoho ecosystem is their image annotator, which they mentioned in the Zoho Mail one. New image annotator Compose. So I'm assuming it's the same annotator that they have in like Click or in their ULA browser, where just the nice thing about it is that you can. So now you can annotate an image when you drop it into the email, right? So I drop an image into the email. And let's say I just took a screenshot of something that I'm sending to somebody and, I need to hide some of the elements. Their image annotator has a built-in like blurring, like privacy tool thing, which is nice. And then of course you can also add text, arrows, highlighting squares, that kind of thing. So I really like the image annotator whenever I'm adding in an image into, say, a click message. So adding it to Zoho Mail, I think, is also a great addition, keeping your information safe and pointing people to what they need to see first.
Yep.
Making it like a nice YouTube thumbnail, right? With just random red arrows.
Big red arrow. They work. The weird thing with the red arrow is it has this magical success rate. See, I'm a Mac preview user for all of this type of stuff. I need to give their annotator a try because people always say it's really nice. I know Raquel loves it. She uses it a lot, actually, on our team. I've always been a Mac preview guy. I've gotten so many miles out of preview, open a PDF, make some of those little overlays or edits, and then, send it where it needs to go. But yeah, I should try the annotator because I do think it's probably better. But, force of habit, if nothing else, keeps me in the preview world. Though I'm not really previewing anything. I'm generally making significant edits to the image in there. All right. With that, we've wrapped out the news. Small handful of stories that we didn't include that'll be over in the newsletter. That's where a lot of mobile updates and things like that go. So well worth subscribing to that at zenatta.com/newsletter if you want to get everything delivered every Monday. But with that, let's jump over to Club Zenatta and check out our code share of the week. All right, so this is Andrew here. We jokingly call Club Z Club G for Gritton because he is so often a contributor on the platform. So this is a script that he used in analytics, the SQL script that basically does some date logic, right, Greg? We're using the between operator is kind of the main special sauce here.
Yeah. So this is just a nice operator that they don't really show you anywhere in analytics how to use. But if you ever need to compare, with a normal logic flow, you would have to say something like, if variable A is less than X and variable B is greater than Y, right? And so you just have to kind of so you have to repeat that. So just the between operator, you get to save a little bit of keystrokes and just say that where my variable A between X and Y.
That's
right?
Nice.
Which is nice because it's logically the way that you think about it in your head. You don't think about it's less than this but greater than this. You just think it's between this and this. So it's a pretty simple one here. He was just trying to check when a customer record had been modified between 4 p.m. and 8 a.m. 4 p.m. previous day, 8 a.m. the next day. And so he just wanted to take the current date, do some, math on it, and then check, is the last modified time for my record here in between these two bookend points. So,
but if you were just using this to check between I don't know, did show me all the tasks that got completed between the creation date and the closing date of a deal, let's say, you would just put your date here and your date here. He's doing some logic around current date, but these could surely just be created time, closing time. Exactly. If you want add separate date fields you were going to use as part of this comparator. It just, in this case, we happen to be doing some logic around current date to satisfy this particular need.
And it also doesn't have to be dates, right? You could also say, if I wanted to get a list of deals where the amount of the deal is between $2,000 and $5,000, something like that, right? Then you could also use that for this, where you could say where amount between $2,000 and $5,000, which is just kind of it's a nicer, easier thing to write than greater than this and less than this, kind of thing. So, just a little PSA for everybody. There's a slightly faster way.
Yeah, why not? Especially too, if you do have a statement where your where clause, which is essentially for non-SQL writers, where you're doing a lot of your filtering and logic, they can get quite long. for a more complicated query. And so taking 2 rows into one makes life a little easier. This one row is like a statement and these other things where, if you're doing it with the greater than, less than, it just adds more and more to that section. Especially if you have like an or. I won't get into that, but like it can get quite annoying. With that, of course, over here on Club Zenatta, it's looking spooky. I guess it's for October. Look at that banner. Yeah, looking very, very spooky, but it's not spooky. It's just a free platform that you can use and join to get help from other Zoho nerds just like you, and also from the Zenatta team. Totally free. It's where all the code shares live. We just asked for the email so we can make sure that you're not a bot trying to spam crypto ads inside of Club Zenatta. I say it all the time, but that's when you know you made it, is when people start spamming crypto ads on your content. If somebody types in, I can't recover my wallet in the comments down below here, don't click the link. We'll be removing the comment shortly, but in the meantime, don't click it. You will have a problem. With that, also, look at this. This is 2,998 plus 3. That makes 3,001 Club Z members. I think we just hit that this week, didn't we? So that would mean, there it is, golf clap all around. That's another angel getting their wings slowly but surely on Club Zenatta. It just keeps climbing. People keep joining and enjoying the content. So feel free to jump over there and join the community. Again, totally free. With that, let's jump over to the website and check out what's new on Zenatta.com. Alrighty, so as we dug through our survey tool, we had realized that we had some case studies that were a bit backlogged, so we've got another one this week. This is from Doorwayz Unlimited, so they are a commercial door distributor. Basically, supply doors, hardware, all the different types of things that a contractor might need to install a door at a place. There are a lot of places, therefore there are a lot of doors. So, they need a good process to manage this stuff. Essentially, their challenge, it's some different experiences with other consultants, kind of looking at like fixed monthly things. And these guys are like, I don't know, it doesn't seem like we need anything that crazy. And we kind of agreed, at least for their V1. It's like, look, let's do a deal, let's do some stages, let's do a project. You don't need to buy an annual contract with us to get this done. We built out their deal flow, stages, notifications, follow-up actions, internal and external emails. We did also do some management around calls. So like different types of call outcomes create different types of follow-ups. Like you might check in with the contractor on day 0. They're like, yeah, we got the bid. We're not quite sure on what door stuff we're going to need, right? That would be a call outcome. 1 week later, calling them again because I want to make sure we don't get left off the bid. And not to go too far down the rabbit hole of the business model, but it's like, these types of companies, a lot of things go through, I almost said genetic counselors for GC. That's what's in my head. General contractors. That's what my wife does for work. So GC, anyways. So these general contractors, they're the one who's bidding on the actual job, and then they're going to sub-bid it out to me for the door stuff. So like staying in touch with the GC consistently is like a big deal. Like you don't want to get left out of that deal because you don't really have always a direct relationship with the customer themselves, right? You're getting brought in as like a subcontractor. And then the project management. So when a deal gets closed, we kick off the template, work drive integration, of course, for all the files and management. I'll tell you, like this thing here, all you need to do is add in desk, and that's like the core Zoho build out, right? The deal flow, the project, the work drive, desk, campaigns would be another one that maybe be in the future for these guys. But overall, I think the main takeaway with this build is like nothing crazy. You don't always need a big, crazy, complicated, insane system. Like this system is way better than what they had before, which if I remember correctly was like spreadsheets. But there was no need to pay like $50,000 for a big, crazy implementation to accomplish this. It's like, let's just make sure you got the core stuff, tasks, emails, follow-ups, a project, a folder to put the stuff, the files, and it's working well for them. So big shout out to their team, Ken over there as well. He's one of their sales managers. Our flow for CRM projects, best we ever had. That's the goal, right? We want to make sure that it's good and ideally that you don't overpay for it. Because oftentimes the conversations that we have with people is a lot. It's funny and it's counterintuitive. And I've had people mention this on the call, like prospecting calls, where it's like, you should start by giving me less money, actually. Like, let's not start with like 100-hour version 1. Like, let's do like 25, 30 hours of work, see how you feel, and see if we want to invest more into it. Where it's a lot of times about removing the crazy stuff and trying to start with just like, let's give you a deal. Let's have some tasks and emails happening as you move through it. And it's like, that's probably, you're getting 70% of the total value for 25% of the cost. And then we can decide how we want to go from there. And I think these guys are a case study in that approach.
Absolutely. And I wonder if they could help us finally put to bed that debate. Do you remember from 2 years ago of what are there more of in the world, doors or wheels? Do you remember that?
Doors or wheels? No, I don't remember.
That took over the internet in 2023. It was, what are there more of in the world, doors or wheels? And
I mean, wheels. It has to be wheels.
According to
interior doors, I was thinking like you go for the thing that's like the highest occurrence rate. So I was thinking like houses and cars, right? And I was thinking, okay, most houses have 2 doors, but they don't because you have doors on the inside of the house.
You do.
There's a door right over there.
Yeah.
Average family has 1.5 cars, I think. So it's like 6 wheels per house. So you could actually, but also there's 18 wheels.
You now also count the doors on the car.
Oh yeah.
So every sedan just cancels itself out.
Yeah. But every motorcycle is just a total positive net too. No doors.
That's right. Bicycles, scooters. It's a question. According to DuckDuckGo, there's more wheels. There's DuckDuckGo estimates 93 billion wheels in the world and 42 billion doors.
And that AI query probably consumed enough power to charge 2 phones from 0 to 100. Right. So we're doing our part. With that, of course, over on the website, where we have all our case studies, they're well worth checking out to see if we've done something similar to something that you need. The scroll just gets longer and longer. There's actually 2 pages now. Well worth checking those out if you are considering a build out and want to see if someone has done something similar to what you need for your Zoho account. With that, I think ready to jump over to youtube.com/Zenatta and check out our tips of the week. All right. Before we describe these, this is an earnest request for input from the viewers here. Genuinely not engagement bait. Go leave them on Club Zenatta so it doesn't engage the video if you need to. What tutorials have we not made? This week, we've got 2 kind of like news-centric videos with some things that I think I just saw on their site, didn't get a lot of views on their article, but I think are pretty valuable. But I'm always happy to make tutorial videos. Admittedly, the ideas don't come as easily as they used to because we have covered quite a lot of the core functionality that exists. So let me know down below or on Club Z or however you'd like. What are we missing? There's got to be more features and functionalities out there that we could cover, and I'm always happy to. But this week, we've got 2 updates here coming from some previous news stories that we've covered briefly on the show that I wanted to do some more deep dive on. One of them is all the various AI updates that have rolled out for Zoho Sign. They've done quite a lot, but they put out this article where they showed them here. You probably remember this one, Greg. I also pulled up the articles for each of these, and we kind of went through them in a bit more detail, just so you could actually see like what that looks like to use and what it looks like in practice. So check that one out. There are a lot of new features for Sign that are going to be pretty darn useful. Next one is a deep dive on the grid component. I'm probably going to make a hands-on with this, just doing a canvas view using it, because I really feel strongly that this is probably the right way to use Canvas for like 90% of people, because it makes the process of getting everything to line up so much easier, and it handles the like screen size responsiveness natively, which is, again, one of the bigger pain points. So I did just want to get this one out as its own kind of call out video to make sure people know that this exists. Sometimes what I do in these articles, being candid, is I look up here and I see only 250 people have seen it. And I'm like, that's not enough people. More people probably need to know that this exists. So I wanted to cover that in a bit more detail. As always, over on youtube.com/Zenatta is where you can see all the videos, all the podcasts, all the full webinars and tutorials. So make sure to check that out and subscribe if that type of content is interesting and or useful for you. We'd love to have you in the community. We're almost kind of cranking nowadays. We're halfway to our next angel over here. And I feel like we just did that, right? A couple weeks ago. So
yeah, maybe like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's getting quicker and quicker. It seems to be how it goes. YouTube is definitely an aggregated game. Once you do well, you do better. And once you do better, you do weller. And then you do weller and you do betterer, right? And the cycle just kind of keeps continuing. You also hopefully get better at it. When I watch some of those old videos that we made in the past, other than your old deluge ones are like all-time greats in terms of just the comedic quality of those is different than the rest of our channel. They are entertaining in a way that I'm not always quite so funny, you know?
Oh, I think you're very funny, Tyler. I think you're very funny. Well, funny looking. Oh!
There it is.
Got
there
him.
It is.
Got him.
I almost said it because I knew you were going to, but I didn't want to take it from you. I did not want to take it from you. You earned it. But yeah, so with that, I think we're ready to wrap up here for this week. So as always, if you want to get in touch with anybody on the Zenatta team, just head on over to zenatta.com and click on book a meeting. We'd love to talk. Over on the website is also where you're going to find complete episodes of the show, as well as links to all the stories we discussed today.
And if you want good code for free, head over to Club Z. Club.zenatta.com is where you can join our online community. Head over to zenatta.com/training as well to get your team trained up in the core Zoho apps in less than a week.
What rhymes with training? Braining?
Yeah.
There's got to be some type of rhyme that can be done over there. Train your brain. Train your brain with team training.
Want a gig of brain? Get Zenatta training.
There you go. Just put a
We'll workshop it.
Yep, there you go. Everyone just clicked off the video. They're like, please guys, shut up. But yeah, with that, as always, we appreciate when you like and subscribe here on YouTube, as well as your choice of podcast app. We will see you next Friday.
The CRM Zen Show was produced by Podcaster Zen.
Don't want your parade to rain? No, maybe reigning like a king. You want your team supreme reigning? Go to team training. I think we got it.
That's good enough.